Hello and welcome to another RunOS video. Today we are going to be chatting about a new feature which we're very excited about. And this new feature is our new MCP tool that comes coupled with the RunOS CLI that you can install on your local machine. We've made a large amount of new and awesome improvements to RunOS over the last couple of months. So there'll be a few videos coming out from that, but today we're just going to focus on the MCP tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to what we like to call vibe deploy something. So we're going to vibe code something using Claude Code, using the VS Code plugin, and then we're going to ask the AI to simply deploy it for us on the RunOS platform. Right, so without further ado, let's get started. So depending on if you have a RunOS account or not, if you do already, you might be familiar with this screen. Then you can just go to the Vibe Deploy button over here, and then that'll take you where we want to be. Alternatively, if you're creating a new account, you may end up on this screen here, in which case you can just click on the Vibe Deploy with Claude Code. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to authorize Hetzner, our Hetzner account. We're going to just share an API key temporarily. That's going to allow us to commission a new virtual server, which will prepare our environment for us. Then we're going to install the CLI on our local project. And then finally, we're actually going to build a little app and deploy it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to click on Hetzner over here. Now there's some information if you're not familiar with this. Now, if you don't have an Hetzner account yet, go and create one. Their prices are extremely affordable, and their uptime is great. We've had very little issues with them. We've got a number of users that are using Hetzner, and it's all just very fantastic. Right. So we're going to be using this project over here, the RunOS demo. So if you're creating a fresh Hetzner account, might be called something else. I don't remember what the default is, but nevertheless, you'll be presented with a bare sort of section like this. Right, so we're going to start by generating a new API token. We're going to say RunOS demo, and we have to have read and write because it has to create a new server for us. Right, and I'm going to delete this afterwards, so don't worry about seeing this. I'm going to put this in here, and then we're going to click verify. Now it actually makes sure it's working. Right, so then we're going to pick our cluster size, our node size, sorry. This is perfectly fine for getting started. Now they charge by the hour. So the cool thing here is you can totally play around with for a couple of hours and it'll cost you a few cents. Now it's just going to confirm whether or not you want to go ahead with it, because now you will be charged on your Hetzner account for this node. So we'll click let's go. And now what's going to happen is it's going to provision the new instance on Hetzner, as well as install everything that needs to be installed on that node to get our Vibe deploy up and running. So while that's happening, we can always click this button here to see the current status of that process. But while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and install the CLI. Right, so we're going to be, so there's a few options, few different ways to install the CLI. You can install it globally. Or if you want to install it on a project only, if you don't want it to be running on your computer as a whole, which actually means it just goes into your path, you can go with this AI assistant version, which we'll do in this case. So I'm going to say project only, and I'm on a Mac and I'm on Apple Silicon. All right, so I'm just going to copy this over here, and then I'm going to put that into my Claude Code session. So over there, and then we'll just hit enter. So we're basically just asking AI now to do the installation for us. This way, if you ever want to, have a look at exactly what it does, you can always ask AI as well. Right, so it's just going to download the file. And then it's going to extract. So there's two scripts in that directory. There's install.sh and uninstall. Again, that is for if you want to install it globally. It's another way of doing the installation. But in our case, we're not actually going to install it. We're just downloading it into our local project so that we can make use of the MCP. Now it's asking me to configure for Claude. So obviously, if you're not using Claude, this is not ideal, but this demo is for Claude. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, and now it's asking me to log in. So I'll say yes. All right, now since I'm already logged into my session at RunOS, I can just say authorize. And we can go back here. All right, we are good to go. Okay, now it wants to delete the file. All right, so very important, we need to restart Claude, otherwise the MCP servers won't be recognized. Okay, now we can get going. So let's go back to our console over here. Let's open up here to see where our installation is going. Right, so it's still busy. So that's fine. So what's going to happen now is we're going to click here, and you will notice here that it's going to tell us that we're still busy. So you can open up the progress. So yeah, this takes roughly 10 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more to get up and running for the first time. So I'm going to pause the video here, and then I'll resume once this is done. All right, so it looks like that was around 8 minutes. I'm going to close, yep. Cool, there we go. It says we are ready to deploy. Right, so now what we're going to do, we have 3 options here. Obviously, you can come up with your own project, but just to have a play, we're going to be doing a handyman service. And it's just a very basic little information website with a contact form. So I'm going to, so there's some technical bits here. Just to guide it. Obviously, if you exclude that, it might come up with its own things. So we'll copy this, we'll paste it in here, we'll press enter. Now, obviously, AI is going to do its things, so that's also going to take a while. So let's just wait for 2 seconds before I pause the video again. So now it's interacting with our MCP, as you can see there. There you go. Cool. Right, so now it's going to go ahead and build the app for us. So I'm not going to bore you with those details. Right, so it hasn't actually started writing the code yet. It's first gone and inspected our RunOS clusters, and it's asked me which cluster I want to deploy to. So my account has got multiple clusters. Now it's given me this option here, saying this is the only one that's actually got nodes, so it's recommending that one. Then it's also asking me which email I want to send the notifications to, so that one is fine. And then it's asking me what the sender name should be. Handy helper, I like that. So we'll do that. Right, so how the email actually works is there is a RunOS service that allows you to send emails. Generally, cloud providers and VPSs don't want you to send emails from those servers due to spam reasons. So we have implemented a additional service to send emails through. And that uses API tokens that you will embed into your application. It's a simple REST API. But again, like that's what's happening here. Now it's asking me if we can create a new API token for the email service for our application. So we'll just say yes. Due to the MCP, the AI already has all the information. It understands how the API works and all that. So you do not have to worry about any of that. So, all right. So now it's going to build out the app. So I'm just going to pause the video. All right, so it's written all of our code for us, also a few configuration files. It's created a Docker file for us, an env file, and the runos.yaml file, which defines our application. But again, this was all done by AI. So here you can see the API token also that was created for sending the email. Cool, so now it's asking me if I want to deploy, so I will just say yes. Now, because the MCP has got access to the build logs as well as the app logs, you really don't have to interfere. It will be able to read the app logs or the build logs if the build fails, which can happen from time to time with Docker files and random dependencies that you add in. And then also if the app is running with an issue, then you can always just ask it to be verbose with login, for instance, and you can ask the AI to fix it, because the moment it has access to the logs, it can figure out what's going on. Right, so I'm going to pause the video for a moment, I think, yeah. All right, so the build was successful. That was only like 5 or 6 seconds later. Now it's saying it's using one of my local tools to actually access the website. But there is the link, so let's see if it works. There you go, we've got our website up and running. So looks pretty good. Let's try this out. Plumbing. Okay. I have no pipes in my home. Send inquiry. And there you go. Now you should have received an email, and we should be all good. So we can now go back to the console, incidentally, and we can just need to take my video off here. Then we can click on this button here, and then we can go to our notify keys. And there we go. So there is our API key for sending the notify. Incidentally, the notify service is the service that sends emails. And you can see 2 emails were sent, one to the customer and one to the handyman in this case. So we are all good. Now, if you wanted to take this a step further, you can also register a domain. You can ask your AI for guidance on how to set that up, and you can actually put your own domain on the application as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be doing a few more in this series, and we hope to see you soon. All right, bye-bye.